Our next guest was at that event, the CES in Las Vegas, and he describes it more like a rock concert than a tech CEO speech. Dan Ives is Wedbush Securities analyst, of course, joins us now. Has a buy on Nvidia, price target's 200. Good morning, Dan. Let's talk robotics and autonomous technology. You say in your talking points or your review of the speech, that alone represents another $1 trillion of incremental market opportunity that Nvidia can now tap into over the coming years. How do you get to that number, and how do you derive the value you are for Nvidia from it?
Yeah, I mean, look, to me, I think Jensen laid out the strategic vision for the coming years. When we look at robotics, autonomous, I mean, I believe ultimately those are going to be some of the biggest use cases of AI. And I think what you saw from Nvidia last night is they're not just sort of going to be a provider. They're going to play a huge role in this sort of vision. And obviously, Tesla on the autonomous side continues to be front and center. I think this is the next step. I think this is a snapshot of the future. And you look at it incrementally, you go out the next few years, I think Street's underestimating growth by 25, 30%, which is why I think not just $4 trillion, you could be looking at a $5 trillion market cap.
Underestimating growth by 30%. What is it? Is it robotics? What's being underestimated, so to speak, in terms of the growth for this company?
I think one, it's Blackwell, just overall from a demand perspective. We think 15-to-1 demand to supply in terms of what we see. I think when you look at robotics and autonomous, given the market opportunity, that could ultimately be 15, 20% of what I view as disruptive technology. I mean, that could be an incremental 20, 25% just to the top line over the next, call it 2-3 years. I think that to me was the sort of watershed moment last night. It's Jensen laying out Nvidia. It's not just about Blackwell chips, the new oil gold. It's about where this is all going. And we believe autonomous and robotics, that's a huge part of the fourth industrial revolution.
Right. So what does a ChatGPT moment in robotics look like then, Dan? What does that mean?
I think physical AI. I mean, we've talked about from Robotaxi Day in October. I think we're going to be looking next 2-3 years. Robotics is not just going to be from CES. It's going to be real. And I think it's something that's going to play out in factories. It's going to play out in consumers and households. And I think a year from now, we start to go more advanced prototypes to something that's going to become a reality. And I think that's the key here, is that we are still in the early days of the AI revolution. And there's only really one player. I mean, it's NVIDIA's world. Everyone else is paying rent. That was a flex the muscles moment from The Godfather last night.
What about what I was just talking about, Dan, which is higher yields? And the fact that all those stocks are down today. I know you're excited about the fundamentals and the innovation here, but does it make you question valuations when we are seeing a rate move like this on some of those ideas?
Yeah. No, look, and that's the push and pull, and I get it. But my view, Sarah, is that we have $2 trillion of AI capex next 3 years. And even when you look at tech, look at Microsoft just going to 80, from 44, basically doubling their capex. You look at numbers, you could say valuation, but I think it goes back to, I think earnings and ultimately top line growth for tech is being massively underestimated into the next year or two. And that's where the growth is. This revolution is not going to be stopped in a 10, 20-bit move on the 10-year.
Hold on to your hats, because something groundbreaking is about to shake up the stock market, and you won't want to miss out. Picture a world where artificial intelligence not only converses through chatbots, but also manages intricate tasks with a finesse that would put even the most seasoned professionals to shame. Enter Nvidia and its visionary CEO, Jensen Huang, who is leading the charge into the future with a concept that's buzzing in both Silicon Valley and Wall Street: agentic AI. This innovation is set to become the next mainstream sensation by 2025, according to Huang. But what exactly are AI agents, and why should investors be paying attention to Nvidia now more than ever? Welcome back, everyone, to Investocracy.
I mean, I think the big thing is it's $2 trillion of AI capex next 3 years. And I think, look, that's numbers that are really, I believe, going to be in stone. And there's a multiplier. For every dollar spent on an NVIDIA chip, there's an $8 to $10 multiplier across software and across the rest of tech and infrastructure. You think about the power, the utilities, nuclear energy, names like ACO and others. I mean, it just speaks to we're going into a new age. It's not just about big tech. I mean, to your point about small caps, I think the big sort of prove it moment is the multiplier playing out. It's the rest of tech, the rest of utilities, the rest of the market participating in this AI trend. That's really, if you think about that party, the only ones let in behind the velvet ropes have been that Mag 7.
Nvidia has been selling the picks and shovels. They've made a fortune. We've seen all the growth. Does Microsoft and Google and the like that have been spending all that money need to show some gold this year in a big way?
Yeah, and I think that'll start this quarter. I think you're going to see an inflection point in the hyperscalers for Microsoft, for Amazon, for Google, in terms of what we see with more and more of those cloud workloads now showing up. And I think it's all about use cases. That's why you look at the Messi of AI, Palantir, in terms of what they've done, that's just the first piece. Salesforce has been another. Software now starts to actually participate in this AI revolution. That's going to be a key theme across 2025. Remember, with Khan done at the FTC, M&A is going to massively accelerate. And that's another theme we're going to be seeing across tech.
What we saw at the end of last year was a lot of these other companies, sort of the side effects of AI or the actual applications. We saw them take a pause in the applications of AI and really study exactly the use cases, study the most efficient way to do it. They stopped deploying as much cash. What makes you think that they can apply some of the AI technology quickly enough to keep delivering the kinds of expansion and gains in the hyperscalers to keep a 20-25% return that you're expecting in 2025?
Yeah, it's a great point. Look, that's all the work we do. I mean, we look at, when we talk to enterprise around the world and all the travel we do in Asia, it's showing that these use cases, they're exploding for the enterprise. So as the ROI starts to continue to increase, that's why you're starting to see, you saw Palantir starting in Salesforce, you can see Mongo, Snowflake, and others. You're going to see it spread across the board on enterprise. But again, like the ships left the port. In other words, the AI CapEx is going to be there. Now 2025 is going to be about showing it, proving it in numbers. And that's why the reason we think tech stocks are going to be up 25%, it's not just about big tech. It's about the rest of tech participating, software, infrastructure. And look, I always say, like, haters hate. The last few years, that's sort of been, what we've seen in tech. They will continue to sort of fire in a crowd theater type situations, but I think tech continues to move higher.
How predicated is this theory on the idea that there can be some sort of expansion of the H-1B visas, that there can be an ongoing increase in employees and top talent to the United States? For
the first time in 30 years, the U.S. is ahead of China. I mean, in my perspective, from when it comes to tech. But to fuel that in terms of AI revolution, it's talent. And I think what we've definitely seen a lack, I would say supply, demand. These companies more and more need to continue to fuel this with talent. So when you look at what we're seeing with H-1B and ultimately as that all plays out, it will be something very, very important that plays out in Silicon Valley and across the tech world in 2025.
Nvidia is on a mission to transform AI from an enigmatic, high-tech novelty into a practical powerhouse capable of performing multi-step tasks with cognitive reasoning. While it may sound like something straight out of a sci-fi film, it's as real as the morning stock report. The recent CES trade show in Las Vegas saw Nvidia laying out these AI blueprints, marking a profound leap from mundane conversational algorithms to sophisticated AI agents. The financial outlook is nothing short of spectacular, with Wall Street projecting Nvidia's revenue to jump from $129 billion to an almost unfathomable $200 billion by fiscal year 2026. That's more than a 52% increase, folks. But before going on with the video, are you into cryptocurrency? If so, check out our second channel, Investocracy Crypto. We bring you breaking news, expert analysis, and the latest trends in the fast-moving world of digital assets. Whether you're a seasoned crypto investor or just curious about the future of finance, we've got something for you. Click the link in the description to subscribe to Investocracy Crypto now. Don't miss out and stay ahead of the game. Now, let's get back to the video.
For a look at what's ahead this year, we want to welcome Gene Munster, Deepwater Asset Management Managing Partner. And Gene, let's talk this through. Okay, so up incredible amounts for this year, biggest market cap out there. What is the anticipation for this coming year, for 2025? You think that this money is still going to be good? Is there still going to be the huge amount of demand? Can they continue to just rake in the cash that they've been able to do to this point?
I mean, specific to Nvidia, yes, I think this is going to continue. I think that the growth rates are going to remain higher for longer. Specifically, the focus is on calendar 26, what that growth is going to be. The street's expecting low 20% growth. I think it's going to exceed 30% growth. And so this still trades at a reasonable multiple, a 25x multiple, and kind of plays to what I think is going to be the chorus in 2025. Obviously, Nvidia being at the center of the AI trade, I still think we have 2 solid years left of a strong tech trade here based on AI. And I just want to quickly fill in the point, Becky, that probably seems out of touch with reality, just given the 87% move we've seen in the NASDAQ over the past couple of years. How is it possible that this can continue? And I come back to, for most people, the concept of AI is a buzzword. And I put in the context that if you look at ChatGPT, the daily users, it's only about 150 million. That compares to about 2.5 billion Google users. We're still early in this, and I think it's going to continue to pull the broader tech market and big tech higher in 25.
It does raise questions about what Nvidia is going to do with all that cash that it's bringing in. What do you think the best answer would be?
I think probably return it to shareholders, share buybacks. I mentioned that valuation at 25x. I think it's quite compelling. And so I think that that's probably the easiest way. They don't need to make any acquisitions at this point. So I think it's probably on the typical well-traveled path of share buybacks, dividends. We probably will see something along those lines we almost have to in calendar 25 for Nvidia specifically.
Gene, I'm just looking through your disclosures. You don't own Nvidia. Why not?
Personally, I don't own Nvidia. Our firm does. Deepwater does own Nvidia. And the reason why we own it is at the end of the day, I think that the obvious trade is still in play here. I think there's a lot of anticipation that this company's growth is going to slow dramatically. But some people even think it may even decline in calendar 26. But as I mentioned, I think that we're still early in the AI build-out phase. So that's why Deepwater owns it.
But you do personally own Apple and Tesla. Why not Nvidia if you are if you have such conviction on it? I think if I was going to kind of force rank those three, I don't do first from just the highest level. I have very few companies in my personal account, and so I don't think it's necessarily an indictment against Nvidia. Sure.
It's more just related to my conviction around Apple and Tesla.
So the Apple and Tesla are still your highest conviction stocks because those are the ones you own too.
Yeah, for the long term, and I have the benefit to own things for 5+ years. I think it's worth mentioning. We'll get the Tesla numbers here momentarily. I do think Tesla is due for a pullback here. I mean, we've had some incredible, of course, $700 billion in gain over the last 3 months in the market cap. That's just not sustainable. But I think that what they're doing around AI is going to ultimately drive the market cap higher. And when it comes to Apple, I think the iPhone is going to grow closer to 8% for this coming cycle, and expectations are for 3%. So that's where my conviction comes from.
Nvidia isn't just a solid investment, it's a transformative one. With agentic AI taking center stage in the coming years, Nvidia positions itself as a long-term market leader. Despite its impressive rise over previous years, Nvidia's growth saga is far from over, backed by robust financial predictions and a pervasive influence on the AI technology sphere. After all, why settle for ordinary returns when you can invest in a narrative poised to change the very fabric of technology and business? But before going any further, if you made it this far into the video, thank you. These videos take a lot of effort and time to make, so if you enjoyed them, please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. This goes a long way in helping us grow. That said, back to the video.
We're looking, in our opinion, this is still only the second inning of the 9-inning game. And everything we see from all of our spending is about the multiplier. For every dollar spent on Godfather of AI, Jensen Huang, on those chips, there's a $8 to $10 multiplier across the rest of tech, which is why I continue to believe that tech stocks are going to be up 25% into next year. And it's only 10 p.m. in this AI party that goes to 4 a.m.
right? And you've been saying that for some time. I think you may have moved us an hour later. I'm not sure along the way.
It started off at 9 p.m. Now it's 10 p.m.
Okay, it's 10 p.m.
So, what do you think? Are you ready to hop onto the Nvidia Express and potentially ride the wave of AI revolution? Share your thoughts and join the conversation. Every perspective counts. And finally, if you would like to know what companies like Nvidia have been up to these past few days, go ahead and click on the next video on your screen. See you there.